Pardon my voice on this. I've had a cold for the past 4 days. But I thought I'd install this table from BROADDICT today. I've been looking for a nice table that had the Molly panels, and this one seemed to fit the bill as far as sturdiness and cost. It was somewhere in the middle of what the other ones cost. Here you have the instruction sheet, and it's pretty well laid out. I don't think it's going to be too hard to install. Shouldn't be too many steps. You have some included weather gaskets to prevent rattles or paint marring. Small hardware, a kit that has all the T-bolts, washers, and nuts. I spotted these two little wrenches. They give you, I guess, to so that you don't have any other tools required to install it. Here, let's take a closer look at the instructions and what's included with the hardware pack that comes with the table. The instructions show 7 steps, starting with the plastic trim piece removal at the top of the tailgate, and then where to place the T-bolts into the existing holes of the tailgate. They do not show where to install these 2 foam gaskets that prevent damage to the paint or any squeaks in that area, but I'll show how I determine where to put those later. The hardware pack consists of 4 T-bolts, a lock nut that spaces out the top of the table so that it remains plumb with the tailgate, and the required washers and final lock nuts. Similarly, the 2 larger T-bolts and corresponding washers and nuts are for the bottom mounting points. They also include 2 small wrenches so that no other tools are needed for installing this table. I do suggest using a ratchet though, make it a lot quicker. Here I've also laid out the pieces in order of how they will be placed on the T-bolts. After the T-bolt is placed into the slot, you will place a washer onto the threaded stud, and then the lock nut spacer will tighten the T-bolt into place. Next, place a second washer that the table will rest against, followed by the final washer and locking nut after the table is set into place over the studs. You want the table to be resting against a washer, and then a washer and lock nut to tighten it down. The table seems quite well packaged. I didn't see any dents or damage to the box when it arrived. It arrived in about 3 days, so it's pretty quick from Amazon. The website listed at 22.8 pounds, and it seems every bit of it. I don't have a scale, so we'll just go with that. One thing I noticed when I was messing with the box or unwrapping it here is I heard absolutely no rattles, so that's a good sign. If it don't rattle now while I'm handling it, it shouldn't rattle while it's on the vehicle. I like the Molly panels and the 2 swing out doors that also have the Molly panels on the front. And so let's get started. The first step shows removing the plastic trim panel at the top of the tailgate. All this does is hide the wiring for the third brake light and rear camera. If you don't have a set of these nylon plastic trim removal tools, you can pick up a set, probably 10 or 12 pieces off Amazon for $10. They come in handy in a lot of instances, especially if you're messing with parts on the dash and you don't want to scratch your dash. These things are real good for that. The second and third steps of the instructions show placing the T-bolts into the slots, and they actually highlight the areas on the tailgate where the T-bolts go. And I ended up putting them in exact locations that they show. However, measure twice, cut once rule. I want to make sure, so I do measurements myself here. I want to see if the hole spacing matches up to where the T-bolt should go. And also the weather stripping. If you've ever put on weather stripping before, that's supposed to prevent damage to your paint, whether it be something like this or a hood deflector. Anytime someone gives you something to protect the paint, place that on the paint, not the part. Reason being, if you place it on the part, vibration and everything, you're still rubbing against the paint. You will mar the paint. If you place it on the paint, then if you ever want to remove it, you just peel it off, and the glue is easy to remove with some cleaners, and you don't have any damage to your paint that way. 20 years of auto accessory experience have taught me that. Here, along with the measurements I did, I want to visually look at the holes and see that they match up to where the studs are shown to be mounted to the tailgate. Back to the measure twice, cut once rule. I want to see it with my own eyes that they actually match up. After visually looking at where the table and the tailgate are most likely to touch and produce squeaks or rattles and paint damage, I'm going to place the first piece of weather stripping at the bottom over the T-bolts themselves, where they actually go. This appears to be where they had in mind, even though they don't show it in the instructions, because the weather strip gasket already has 2 pre-punched holes in those exact locations. So we'll put that piece right here, and we'll just leave that where it's at. The top piece seems to be a duplicate of the bottom piece. It has the 2 holes pre-punched in it, but there are 4 holes at the top, and looking at it, it actually needs to go above where the T-bolts mount onto the raised area of the tailgate. So I'm going to place it right above the T-bolt slots there, and that should prevent any rattles or paint damage. Here we'll start installing the T-bolts into the slots of the tailgate. The 2 larger the T-bolts go at the bottom 2 slots, corresponding with the holes in the gasket, of course. They will go to the inside of the tailgate holes. Place the T-bolt in the slot, turn it 90 degrees so that it can't come back out. Place a washer over the stud, and then the lock nut tightens the T-bolt down. You would do the same to the 4 T-bolt slots at the top. The locations I'll point out in just a second. Here I'm tightening the T-bolt lock nut down so that the T-bolt can't move. I'm using the included small wrenches to show that you don't have to have any other tools. You want to snug them up but not over torque them, and do this to all 4 at the top and 2 at the bottom. And then we'll place a washer over the stud before we put the table into place. Here I also show the locations again. The bottom 2 are toward the inside of the slots, inside of the tailgate that is. The top outer 2 are pushed inward, and the 2 middle ones are pushed outward toward the slots. Final assembly will be placing the table over the studs. It will actually hang there perfectly fine, but just put your hand pressure against it until you at least get 1 nut and washer on it to hold it in place, and then torque the nuts down. Use your own judgment here. They don't have a torque specifications. There again, I just snugged them up very well. And here you have it, you're finished. After tightening the 4 nuts at the top and the 2 at the bottom, here you'll see the bottom shelf has a slot on each side that the side panels lock into. And when unfolded, you can put as much weight as you would ever want to put on the rear tailgate itself. I wouldn't sit on it, but cookers and using it as a workbench for tools and everything, it's quite sturdy. You'll notice here that there's little rubber pads on the back and the front side of these doors that prevent rattles when you fold it up and latch it into place. And I've went down bumpy roads, 40-50 mile an hour and around town, and I've yet to hear a rattle out of it. It seems very well secured. I thought I might have to go to Home Depot and get some felt washers or something and put on it, and that's an option if you ever run across one that does rattle. But mine certainly has no rattles, and I'm quite satisfied with it. I've got a few other of the BROADDICT items, such as the wall hanger for the doors when I remove them, and I've put the grill lights in. I'll put a picture of them at the end of the video. You can all find them all on the BROADDICT store at Amazon, and I've been happy with everything I've received from them. I think I'll enjoy this table and put it to good use. The Molly panels, I really like how they look, and you can mount things to it like the fire extinguisher I have here, or your kitchen utensils and such. But hope you enjoyed the video.